What up, indoor hydroponics, outdoor organics? Mid-April 2023, and it's time to get the beds prepped up in Michigan. High temperatures is the mid-40s, but that does not matter at this point. It's time to start prepping the beds to get them started for when the weather warms up and we can plant out tomatoes and peppers and our warm weather vegetables. We can put some things in the ground, maybe some greens, collards, if you want that. Broccoli is a good thing to get in the ground now. It's very cold hardy. Regardless, the garden looks like pure shit, and it's time to get it back into shape. These gardens have produced hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of produce over the years. I work these beds year over year over year. I am going to be expanding it a few rows, so you'll see the difference in kind of the soil quality and whatnot. So it's time to get started. I got a whole bunch of compost and manure. I rented a damn tiller because I couldn't take it anymore. And what you're seeing is on the right side, those are that's the beds that I've been working on year over year over year. It's good black soil. I mean, it's had so many years of good amendments. And here's where I'm kind of extending the bed. You can see the difference in the soil quality. And it'll get up there so long as I keep working it year over year over year. But right now, this is going to be like almost starting from scratch. So I won't get the hundreds of pounds of produce out of these new rows, but that's okay. Organic gardening is really expensive, okay? Or it can be. So there's garden prep, and then there's plant out. And so this is the garden prep portion. We're going to go with some large bag of tomato tone. We've got a lot of bone meal in there, particularly for these new beds, or new rows, I should say. They're going to need some calcium in there, and that's why I'm using the bone meal. And I'm going to put quite a bit in there. You can't really overdo it with organics, but I want that calcium in the soil so that I don't get blossom end rot. Also using some crab meal and some biotone, which is a starter type fertilizer. And what that's going to do is it's going to get some of that mycorrhiza into the soil as well. This stuff is going to take quite a while to break down. That's why I'm doing the garden prep so far in advance. I want it to start breaking down so that come plant out a month from now, it's starting to already break down, become plant available, get the microbes going in the soil. So this is way in advance. I'm not going to plant out tomatoes in mid-April and whatnot. But so I'm doing it row by row by row. I'm amending all that stuff in there. I'm mixing it in, and then I'm giving it a good 2-3 inches of compost over top. And I'm just going to leave the compost. I'm not going to mix it in. And the reason is every time it rains, it's going to break down and seep into the soil underneath it. So I never mix my compost in the soil. And get a good quality compost, guys. Spend a little bit extra money, because this is the most important part of gardening, is setting the beds up. If you set the beds up correctly, it outside of, insects and fungal diseases and things of that nature, it will grow. It will grow well. Anyway, so that's the only time where I'm actually going to add organics to an entire row. And that minimizes the cost. Now, plant out is different. I'm going to put some broccoli plants in. And here's where we target our organics to minimize on the cost. I've got some azomite, some fish bone meal. I've got some earthworm castings, and I got some mycorrhiza. And if you target your plants individually at plant out, it spreads out the cost of organics a lot further, okay? So I will not add any kind of organics to the entire length of the bed after this one application, but I will target it at plant out. So just as a kind of a demonstration, I'm going to add maybe half a handful into each planting hole of fish bone meal, biotone, little earthworm castings. I think I had a little kelp meal in there too, because I love that stuff. Regardless, add your organics to the planting hole, and it makes it go so much further. Plus, it's targeted at the root zone. That's where you want it. And add your mycorrhiza to where your roots are in contact with it. Won't work if your roots aren't in contact with it. So I mix everything up. I add the mycorrhiza at the end, and I plant the start literally to where it's touching the mycorrhiza, because you want it to bond to the root. If it bonds to the root, it will help that plant take up water and nutrient and grow so much bigger. It's a proven fact. It's science, people, and it's amazing. Regardless, I've got everything planted out. It's going to be a wonderful, wonderful start to the year. 6 broccoli in. They did survive the night, so that's a good thing. No kind of plant shock. I think it got into the mid-30s last night, which is fine. I've kind of hardened these plants off. I've left them outside a little bit for a few nights. So anyway, got 5 really good rows. I'm going to have a couple of rows of tomatoes, a couple of rows of peppers, probably throw some cucumbers in once the broccoli is done and the soil is warmed up. So it's going to be an amazing year. I've got a great start to the beds. This is the single most important part of gardening, is putting more in than the plant is going to take out. And if you do that, you will have a successful growing season. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, and comment. And see ya on the next video.